Welcome back to Space Cadets. Our recruits are actually here right now. It's a bit weird because in the background there you might just hear some quite traditionally English church bells. Hope they can't hear them there. I'm just going to check whether they've heard us using some state-of-the-art surveillance equipment. I only say this because there's quite a lot of us here. So I'm going to use some state-of-the-art surveillance equipment to see if they haven't heard us. I'm only kidding. That one. We're fine. It's okay. They're playing pool. So, how were the Space Cadets recruited? Well, I can tell you. First up, from the hundreds of applicants who wanted in on our mystery mission, we eliminated anyone whose hobby was military bases or space. This included members of Her Majesty's forces, anyone with training in astrophysics or related disciplines, and of course, anyone who could name more than 4 characters from Star Trek: The Next Generation. With these potentially dangerous know-it-alls out of the frame, we were then ready to start the tests in earnest as we set out to discover who had what we were looking for and who didn't.
From the 100 interviewed, we invited 50 potential Space Cadets to London for a day of psychological tests. Unbeknownst to them, 3 actors had infiltrated the group. From this point on, Charlie, Rainey and Steve will pose as contenders and be our eyes and ears from within. For this mission to succeed, our Space Cadets will have to be suggestible. Suggestible people are more likely to believe all that they see and hear. A suggestible mind is also often a highly creative mind. Together with psychologist Professor Robert Edelman, we devised a number of tests to measure the suggestibility of each of our contenders. First up, the dot pattern test. Each contender was shown a series of pattern cards. They were told that some contained hidden faces. They didn't. Those that saw the faces in most detail were the most suggestible. They want to believe in something so much they'll see something that doesn't exist. These are our kind of people. Take a close look at each card. If you can spot something, you too could have the suggestible mind of a Space Cadet.
Let the dot pattern test begin.
Some saw nothing, ruling them out of the race. But the most suggestible candidates let their imaginations run wild.
That's Boy George.
Loads of different people and they're all just dancing around crazy.
Is that a dog? A woman's reproductive system.
Maybe just the bottom half of a dolphin.
What the old shipyard workers look like when they went to work.
Okay, this looks like Mr. Punch.
I was a witch, a hot dog and some fries.
Looks like an Italian priest with the Joker out of Batman's makeup on.
A skull put on top of like a lampshade, smiling with a cowboy hat on it.
One card, however, did contain a face, a little clue for our unsuspecting Space Cadets. Could you see what it is yet?
It looks like a Roswell alien.
Alien.
That's definitely an alien.
Ah, Elvis. About time he showed up.
The second test of suggestibility was based on the marbles in a jar test, devised by a psychologist named Crutchfield in 1964. This test was designed to measure group conformity. During the training, our actors will be on hand to help convince the cadets they may really be blasting off into space. Essential. So we needed to see who was more likely to be influenced by group thinking. The test was simple. We filled a glass jar with rubber eyeballs and asked the contenders to guess how many there were. Each contender was asked to say their first estimate out loud.
My first guess is 60.
Before writing their final guess on a board. However, the producers were sneaky and altered the results of previous candidates to make them unrealistically high. For some, the exaggerated estimates weren't going to sway them.
So give me your first guess.
150.
85.
But those who changed their gut instinct after seeing the numbers on the board were the people for us.
What's your first guess?
70.
Now you have 10 further seconds to write your final guess next to where you see your name.
Is it a bit higher, I think, than everyone else's?
150.
70.
And then write your final guess on the board.
Whoa. Okay. 87.
103.
And there were some who just didn't get it at all.
What's your first guess?
A load of rubber eyes.
Oh.
And if you don't touch the eyes or the jar, if you don't touch the eyes or the jar.
Oh, and just so you know, there were in fact 210 eyeballs. The finished shuttle will measure just 10 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot. Each compartment is the same size as your average garden shed, and our cadets will be living in there for up to 5 days. We'd already eliminated those who admitted to being claustrophobic, but we needed to test the rest for ourselves. This included our actors. There are 2 types of claustrophobia. First, we tested for restrictive claustrophobia with the sleeping bag test. Our successful cadets will be donning genuine Russian cosmonaut spacesuits complete with close-fitting helmets. So, we made each actor and contender wear a pair of blacked-out goggles before strapping them into a sleeping bag for 20 minutes. The heat, restriction and extreme sensory deprivation recreated the cramped conditions in the suits. Most people were totally at ease. And while some refused to take it lying down, nobody showed signs of severe restrictive claustrophobia. As if being mummified wasn't difficult enough, we then tested them for confinement claustrophobia in the lift test. Just like at a fairground, rule 1 of space travel is that once on board, there's no getting off until the ride has come to a complete stop. So, unbeknownst to our contenders and actors, a lift was rigged to break down, trapping them for 20 minutes under the watchful eye of our producers and psychologists.
Who does it again and we're in trouble? Oh.
In the basement. Oh my god! Why is this jolting? Are we stuck?
We're stuck.
That's correct.
Some applicants had a ball.
How many eggs does it take to make a French omelette?
I don't know. How many eggs does it take to make?
1, because 1 egg is enough.
But it wasn't long before some real signs of anxiety started to show.
This is my worst nightmare, being stuck in a bloody lift.
You won't run out of oxygen, will we?
It's not the best thing to be stuck in a lift. I always think it's just going to drop something.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit warm.
Can we fan you a bit?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's hot, hot, hot.
Right.
I don't like small spaces.
Can't breathe.
And after clocking the hidden camera, actors Charlie and Rainey made the most of the situation by becoming the annoying lift mate.
I think what you're meant to do is lie flat to spread your pressure.
We're not obviously very close to the ground, so why don't we all bounce?
Yeah. Because if you stand like that, you're maximising the pressure.
Right.
So then your legs will pass up through your body cavity.
Jump with me, James. Jump with me.
After 20 minutes, Professor Edelman was able to tell us who could handle being trapped inside a shuttle and who we should discount.
Oh, thank God for that.
After a day of staring at dots, counting rubber eyes, being strapped into sleeping bags and being trapped in a lift, there was one final treat in store. Dancing, blindfolded, in a room full of strangers, in silence. We needed people who could see the funny side of television's most ambitious illusion. So our cadets needed cast iron confidence and the ability to lose their inhibitions. anyone happy to get down wearing blacked out goggles to no music on camera was perfect. Anyone too shy to disco was out. Space is no place for wallflowers. As a final test of a thick skin, one by one, the dancers were instructed to remove their goggles, leaving one unlucky applicant boogieing alone.
Thank you!
Some more happily than others.
Good, couldn't see a thing. After the break, we'll see how this small corner of England was transformed into a convincing Russian space agency. And after the success of the scientific tests, we see how the Space Cadets handled the physical examination.